Well, welcome everybody to our Magnification Call. Today is November 15th. Thank you so much for joining us tonight. It is my pleasure to introduce Mr. Richard Paul Evans.
Hi, friends. Hi, Five Kingdoms community. This is always a pleasure, and it's a great part of my Sunday evening. It's something I look forward to, and I hope you do as well. First of all, let me thank you all for your support of my book, The Noel Letters. It's doing extremely well. It's currently in actual books. It's the #1 holiday book on Amazon. It's the #1 Christian book, which is kind of interesting since we never really listed it as a Christian book. And also considering that there's some major Christian authors I've just released. So I've had really tremendous support along the line of books as well. I told you that I was hoping for some good news. I actually have a Zoom meeting tomorrow morning with the president of a major publishing house, a very large publishing house, to talk about the Five Kingdoms book.
Yes.
And they're very excited about it. And tomorrow morning will actually be that meeting. I called Ben Hardy tonight. I said, we should probably talk before a meeting in the morning. And he wrote back, can't, wife's in labor. So I assume he won't be on the meeting tomorrow morning. I hope not. How is everyone doing? How are you holding up this week? You okay? So?
Yeah.
Anyone want to share an uplifting story? Paula has an uplifting story. Go ahead, Paula.
Today is my 47th anniversary.
Oh, congratulations. Wedding anniversary?
Yes.
Nice. Well, you don't know. I mean, maybe you
He's the best man anybody can have.
Well, how happy I'm sure you tell him, and how happy he must be to hear that. I'd like to share an idea with you, something that I would like to challenge you to for you. So let me preface it with something that happened tonight. Carrie told me that two days ago, she said, you know what, I felt this strong feeling to reach out to my cousin. Now, her cousin is an identical twin, and his twin died last year and died of cancer. And that is, as identical twin, there's a bond there that's, I read up a little bit about it, and it's as hard as it is to lose a sibling. With an identical twin, they tend to feel like they've lost part of themselves. A part of them have died. They were very, very close. In fact, they lived with each other most of their lives. And she reached out to him and asked how he was doing, and he said they're very close. They're very Italian. They all look like mafia, seriously, and they're also super handsome. Seriously, I was jealous for cousins. They are such good-looking Italian men. But he said, you know, and I guess I'm starting to figure out how to live without him. And what she didn't realize until I called that day was the anniversary of her brother's death. She didn't know that. She just felt this prompting that she needed to reach out to him. Have any of you ever had a feeling like that? Raise your hand if you had a feeling to reach out to someone and you found out why afterwards. Does anyone have a story that's demonstrative enough that would like to share it?
Rick, I got a super cool story.
Please share it.
And sorry, when I responded earlier, I was on mute, so I was wondering why you didn't respond. But yeah, so I had this experience, it was probably like a year or two ago, where I was just sitting at home doing nothing, and I had this impression to reach out to this friend. And I didn't even know it was an impression. It was one of those things. I was like, I wonder what that guy's doing tonight. So I text him, or I called him, and he doesn't answer. And he texts me back, and he's like, hey, I'm busy or something. I just, dropped off my girlfriend at the airport. And I was like, oh, no way. Well, does she need a ride? Because he was in Florida. And so I ended up picking her up, and we ended up so it turns out they had just broken up when he had dropped her off, and he was leaving the airport the second I called him. Well, I picked his girlfriend up. We had a wonderful conversation, and I'm a life coach, and she was, having a really rough time. And so I was able to just sit and listen to her. But one of the challenges in their relationship is he was a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and she was not. And so it actually led to, it ended up giving her a blessing. She ended up starting to read the Book of Mormon. And after, I don't know, I don't remember exactly how long it was, but after about 6 months or so, she actually ended up joining the church. About 6 months later, they ended up getting married. And a lot of that really was like to have to do with that single inkling, that single impression, that prompting from the Spirit that I had no idea. It was just like, oh, I'm really bored, I wonder what my friend's doing tonight. And so it's super, super cool. Now we're pretty good friends, because I helped her join the church and help him get married. So it was a good wedding.
Awesome. I had an experience once. Thank you for sharing, Joseph. I had an experience once. It was late at night. I was lying in bed, hoping to fall asleep, when suddenly I felt this prompting to call my brother. I didn't. He's my. I have 6 brothers, 7 boys in my family. So didn't think much of it. It was a pretty strong prompting. So I called him and he didn't answer. And somebody said go to his house, and he lived about 10 miles away. And I get in my car and say, okay. And this is probably one of my better characteristics, as I actually do listen to promptings, including my books. And I got in my car and drove to this house. When I got there, he was standing in the driveway of his home at 11 o'clock at night, and close to midnight. And his wife was there, and they were shouting at each other. My brother was, and my dad was there, and he just decided to get a divorce. And I thought, what was it that told me at this moment to intervene, that there's something big going on? I believe that in the power of our connections, in this incredible tapestry, that we are supposed to interact with each other, that we are supposed to impact each other's lives, and to be there for each other. That's the power and the beauty of this community that we have right here. I read a story, and how many of you seen the Golden Gate Bridge in real life? So I have some interesting facts about it. First of all, when they first built it, they put up a net underneath it in case anyone fell. 19 men fell. Okay, it saved 19 lives. 11 men were still killed, because you could still die falling from the top to the street part, to the bridge part, but no one died falling to the water. They were caught by that net. In 1987, it was the 50-year anniversary, because I guess it was 1937 when they opened it, and so many people got on the bridge. The bridge actually, it actually arches, right? And the arch is about 7 feet. It actually flattened the bridge when all the people got it. There were 300,000 people on the bridge. How many people do you think have jumped off the bridge? Jay Walder, how many people do you think have jumped off the Golden Gate Bridge?
10.
Counting the 19?
No, they didn't jump off, they fell. 10?
Yeah.
Okay, anyone else? That's your guess.
Until now,
Vicky says too many. Well, that's an easy answer, Vicky.
250,000.
How many?
250,000.
250,000 people?
Yep.
Okay, now that's ridiculous. You would have to wait in line for that, but okay. Somewhere between 10 and 25, 250,000.
1,500.
Who said 1,500?
I did.
Who's I?
Peter.
Oh, Peter. Okay, thanks, Peter. Yeah, 1,700 people have jumped off. Okay. 1,700 people have jumped off. How many do you think have survived of the 1,700 who jumped off?
200?
10.
25. So your chances are chances that you're going to die jumping off the bridge are about 99%. It's a pretty sure way to die. So I want to tell you a story about one of the men who survived. He was having a bad stretch of life. The girl he thought was going to marry him just dumped him. he got fired from his job. Has anyone had a dark tunnel in their lives before? I have. I've had periods where it just seemed hopeless and sad and just, darkness of the soul, right? And finally, he came to this conclusion that he was going to kill himself. And for whatever reason, he lived in San Francisco, and I guess that was the mode of choice. He decided he was going to jump off the Golden Gate Bridge. So what he did is he made a deal with God or the devil or whatever. He said, if one person says something kind to me, I won't jump. And he had to ride 45 minutes on 2 different buses to get there. Okay, if just one person even smiles at me, I won't jump. No one smiled. The bus driver yelled at him as he came in. Someone grumbled at him in a bad mood. He said, but not a single person smiled or said anything of encouragement to him. He took this as a sign that it was time to end his life. And who wants to live in a world like that anyway? So he got on the bridge and he jumped. And has anyone ever jumped off a cliff before? Michael, you jumped. How high was your cliff? Dan, you jumped off a cliff. How high was yours, Michael?
It wasn't very high, about 35 feet, probably at Lake Powell.
Okay, it's high. Dan, how about you? Dan Owens, how high? I'm going to unmute you here. Or you unmute yourself. How high was your cliff?
About 75.
That's high.
It was pretty high.
Yeah. So I made this mistake once. I was with a group of guys. I was only 12, and they all jumped off this cliff, and a few of us didn't jump. And I regretted it because the thing about jumping off cliffs, if you've never done it, it's a whole different thing to look at a cliff and watch people jump. It's a different thing to stand on the ledge of a cliff. Okay, the whole story changes really quickly. So after a year of not being on the edge, I thought, what's the big deal? I could jump off that cliff. So I talked these guys into driving me at Lake Powell to this cliff. Well, the water had dropped that year. So we were now an 85-foot cliff. But we had driven this whole way, and now I had to jump off it because they had brought me this whole way. And it was absolutely terrifying. I looked at it, it's like, no freaking way. It might as well have been a mile. I felt like I was skydiving, 85 feet. I looked over the top, and I'm up there with 3 other guys. I won't get the whole story because the third guy was absolutely kind of hilarious. It almost killed him. But it was probably the best thing that ever happened to him because I saw him 10 years later, and all he could say was the cliff. For him, it was like this greatest moment of his life. But anyway, so we're standing up there looking at it. It's like, whoa, I don't want to jump off that cliff. And all of a sudden, when I hear, "Wah!" My friend just jumped. It's like, holy crap. I walked over and looked at him. He fell for like 10 minutes. Yeah, bam, hits the water. It's like, wow. I didn't realize he was like injured hitting because when you hit like that, it feels like concrete. And so I'm sitting there and I realize I have to jump. And there's no way I'm going to talk myself into it. So I'm not going to think about it. I'm just going to count and start walking. And I just start counting and I just start walking and I went over the side. And I got to tell you, when I was like 3 feet over the side of the cliff, there's nothing I wanted more in this world than to be 3 feet back. Okay. It was sheer terror. And I'm like flying, I'm flailing. My legs are spread open. It's like, if I hit like this, I'm totally dead. I kind of suck up at the last moment. I broke my tailbone. My hands feel like hammers because they were out. It feels like hammers just smashed them. They drove the boat over. They thought I was dead. They had to lift me up into the boat. It was pretty bad. This is what the guy said about, imagine the Golden Gate Bridge, which is like 5 of those, right? And what he said is, after I stepped over, he realized what he had done. All of a sudden, that's the wrong time to wake up. All of a sudden, it's like, I want to be back over there. I understand that feeling, but imagine his case. He's like, I'm going to die. And I have a feeling God's not going to be real happy with me murdering myself. And so he falls and he falls and falls. He goes, please, God, please let me live. I don't want to die. I don't want to die. And he hits the water. I can't imagine how deep in the water. I should have looked that up. He went and he knew he was hurt. And then a shark comes at him. He goes, great. I'm still alive, but a shark. It wasn't a shark. It was a dolphin. And the dolphin actually pushed him to the surface. Pretty cool, huh? Well, when you think about that, he spent his life talking about it and sharing. If just one person had said something kind to him, if one person had smiled, I'm not going to take my life. Now, this is the thing. If you think of his demeanor, the pain he was in, the suffering, okay, we're afraid to reach out to people who are suffering. We're afraid because we don't know the response. I was in church and the pastor said, let's reach out to the person next to us and let's and welcome them. And I reached over to the woman, and she was a young woman next to me, covered with tattoos. And I reached out and she looked at me. She goes, don't touch me. Okay, now my first response is that was a very antisocial response from her part. And it was rejection. It came as rejection, but immediately the Spirit said, she's here. Don't take offense at her pain. Think of those words. Don't take offense at her pain. Okay, Washington Irving, the great scientist, said something beautiful. He said, no love is not reciprocity, right? Is unreplicated. Because when you reach out to someone with love and it doesn't come back, your own love flows back to you. I believe that. And sometimes we have to remember, but the thing is, this guy, no doubt, he's going to have this demeanor. He's going to look angry. He's suicidal. He's about to murder himself. Of course, he's not going to look like someone you want to smile at. And that's the one who really needs it. And what if, and so we're programmed because we've done it. Everyone, I'm sure everyone here has had the experience of reaching out to someone and being rejected, right? I mean, that's part of the human experience. You all have had that. So freaking what? Who cares? Okay, who cares? Once you create love, once you create whatever their response is, does it matter? No. Because that love becomes you. Okay? Don't let their pain affect your giving. When we look at the kingdoms, the 5 kingdoms in our lives, the first kingdom is what? First kingdom is our relationship. It's the most important, the primary realm of our lives. It is our connection with our source. So in K1, in that realm, our first realm, what are some of the things that we are in that first realm? And I'll start with, we are loved in that first realm. Would you agree? Are we loved conditionally or unconditionally?
Unconditionally.
Unconditionally. Okay, what else? Michael, what else? What else are we in that first kingdom?
I would say we are known.
Oh, I love that. I love that. We are known. And as known, I would put understood, right? You're known.
Yeah.
I get you.
Yeah.
Boy, how much do we want that? Sometimes I think that's how we want it, just to be understood. And how painful it is to be misunderstood. I love that. Thank you, Michael. I didn't even write that down. That's the best one. Okay, what else? What else happens in that first round? Anyone? Lynn Caberna.
I had an experience once where I knew God knew my first name.
Yeah.
He knew me by my first name, and that was startling to me. Intellectually, I believed that. But when I had that experience, it was without words. And it was like, he actually not only knows me, but he knows my name.
I love that. Why wouldn't he? That's the point. Why wouldn't he? It's like, it's beautiful that you had that confirmation that he knew your name, and how much more does he know? Guess what? He knows your nicknames too. He also
It
knows
was
every
like,
good-
it was like, once I knew that he knew my name, I knew that there was no secrets. There was everything he knew about me.
Okay, this is imagine. I mean, sometimes people will come to things, they'll have name tags on, they forget. So someone comes up to get a book signed, and I say, "So how are you, Marcy?" And they're like, "How did you know my name?" You see the power of that's like, well, it's on your chest. One time I had a woman come to my book signing, and I had had a crush on her, but she was an identical twin, so I didn't know which one she was. It was Jan and Jill, and she had no idea Richard Paul Evans was Rick Evans from high school. So she waits in a long line. She gets up, and I looked at her. I said, "You Jan or Jill?" She goes, "How do you know me?" I said, "I had a crush on you. I sat behind you in science." And actually, it was junior high school. What else are we in the first kingdom? Carol Burns. In the first kingdom, what else are we? You can unmute yourself.
Well, God knows everything about us, so we're loved, we're known, we're His.
We're owned. I love that. Thank you, Carol. That's beautiful. I'm gonna write that down with known and owned. Thank you. Okay, how about this? We're protected. We're protected. I've had very specific times when I've been woken in the night and told something was about to happen. Very specific. And I can't go into the details, it's way too personal. But I was stunned and terrified at what actually happened, that something woke me up and told me something was about to happen. Okay. How about we are planned for? We are planned for. How about we are inspired? Oh, Crystal Walker wrote, we are cherished. Yeah. How about we are sympathized with? Now, reassured, Joseph, thank you. Marcy wrote, we are gifted. Paula, Crystal Walker wrote, we are understood. We are provided for. Jay Walter said, we are forgiven. Paula, did you have something you wanted to add? Unmute yourself. You need to unmute yourself, Paula. Can't hear you. Okay. You can talk, Paul. We can hear you now.
Oh, okay. I just said we're at peace.
We're given peace. Thank you. Joseph Anderson wrote, we are accepted the way we are accepted. Alan Smith wrote, we matter. These are beautiful answers. Thank you. And I love that you're coming from a place of personal experience. Thank you. These are all correct and they're all right. What a beautiful place to reside. Why do we stay in this keep of all places? Because in this keep, we are protected and loved and assured, all those things. So, question for you. What is our responsibility outside of Kingdom One? I hope with the time you have spent studying the kingdoms and living the kingdoms, you have come to this understanding. And this may be the most important thing I've told you on any of these calls. What is our responsibility outside of Kingdom One? It is to reflect the essence of who we are and our relationship in Kingdom One. Okay, let me just simplify that. We are, yes, Crystal, that's right. We are to reflect the essence of our experience in Kingdom One. Reflect, just as the moon reflects the sun at night. We are in a place of darkness. That is who we are. That is the most important thing I have probably ever taught you, other than seeking kingdom 1 itself. That the rest, kingdom 2, our family, kingdom 3, our friends, kingdom 4, our institutions and social interactions, kingdom 5, the world. The most important thing I can tell you is that it's our job to reflect kingdom 1. And as we become closer and more assured, we are better at it. We don't reach out with hate when we feel loved ourselves. We don't reach out to others and inspire fear when we feel confident and secure. If you've ever had someone just get mad at you, you don't know why, it's like you can be assured that they are in personal pain. It is our job to reach out, to reflect that. So this is, I would like to give you a gift, and that gift is a commitment. And write this down, please. We are halfway through the month of November. I would like to invite you to join me in a great cause. That each day we will reach out to one person, no more than one. Why? Of course, we want to do 1,000. Okay. But the problem is, then it becomes too easy to convolute it. Open ourselves to reach out to one person every day with kindness. It might be leaving a bigger tip. It might be opening the door for someone and smiling at them. It might be asking someone if they need help in these COVID times. I mean, look at it. You can't even see her smile now, right? I looked at a woman in the aisle of the grocery store. I said, by the way, I'm smiling at you. An older woman, she just laughed. She said, thank you. I could see it in your eyes. I said, can you? He goes, yeah, I saw it. It felt good. People are so hungry for connection right now. They are starving for it. We are walking through a social desert, aren't we? Whoever thought that one of the most popular phrases of this year, when we first talked about 2020, would be social distancing, right? It's a horrible term when you think about it. Social distancing is counter to everything beautiful. So, what will this take? Marcy, I'd love to hear your story. Let me come back to you. So, what I'd like you to do is reach out to one person each day in kindness. I want you to write down here in your personal victory on your organizer. Keep track of that in your personal victory by name. And it might be guy at the Maverick station. Okay. It might be something you paid for. It could be something very tiny. It might just be a phone call. But this is how you'll know. So it's going to take 3 things here for you to do this. Okay. To reach out to one person per day in kindness. It's going to take 3 things. First thing is a commitment. It's going to take a commitment to actually do it, to say, I commit. Okay, so I'm committing to you right now that I will do this and be held accountable. Okay, you can ask me how it's going. This is my commitment. You need to be specific in your commitment. What does that mean? Well, this is what I recommend in your commitment, so you don't find yourself at 11 o'clock at night. But if you do find yourself at 11 o'clock at night, you can still do it. Okay, so write down your commitment. By what time? What kind of reaching out? What does that mean to me to reach out in kindness, to reach out in love? What does that mean? So write down your commitment. I make a commitment to reach out to someone in kindness, and this is what that means. Okay, any questions on that? No? Okay, second It's going to take planning. Okay, this is why it's going to take planning. You will forget this commitment by the time you go to bed, probably. Okay, you will probably forget by the time you go to bed. Not that it's not important, not that you don't care, but because I'm looking at Bonnie Stambaugh there, and she probably has so many things on her mind. What does she have to do next week? What does she have to do tomorrow? What does she have to get back to? You have a few things on your mind, right, Bonnie? We're busy. What do we need to do? What did we forget? I mean, Tony and Wendy, they moved. Tony, I bet you have a honey-do list that's like off the charts.
Nope, we're all set. I just want to go out and be nice to people.
I stand corrected.
You know, this is a fascinating topic because we started after we shared our thoughts. It's a way of being. And it's actually something that you taught before, Rick, that I picked up 6-8 months ago. It's a way of being with people. And I've really tried to create that as a habit. I've had customer service people thank me for being so kind to them. You know, even phone solicitors, you know.
Now that's something.
Which is really new for me because I really love to give them a hard time. So yeah, it is a way of being though. I really appreciate you sharing this. This is awesome.
Well, and Tony, you are a kind person, but to translate that into something real, does it make a difference? Yes. I remember one time someone actually turned to me and said, "Why are you being nice to me?" I thought, what an interesting question, but also what a sad question. Why are you being nice to me? Because what's that begging is that we're really not that nice. Okay, the third thing. So first thing is what? Commitment. You write that down? You're gonna make that commitment. You're gonna be specific in your commitment. This is your deal, not mine. Okay. Second, it's gonna take planning. So you can remember, otherwise you're gonna forget. All right, so write it in your organizer, write it down. If you want to put a Post-it note somewhere in front of you that you'll definitely see it, then do that. Okay, third thing, be open to inspiration. Ask your source who needs you. You don't know who. I actually had I've had some strange experiences along that line. One time I was on a flight. I used to fly. I've flown 2 million miles on Delta. And once I had this feeling, I just talked to the flight attendant. I walked to use the restroom. I stopped to talk to her. I just looked at her. I said, "Do you ever get airsick?" And she looked at me. She goes, "How did you know?" "I'm so sick right now. I can't tell anyone." "How did you know?" "I've never in my life in 2 million miles." That's a flight attendant back. I've had very specific situations in life where I have been inspired to reach out. And there have been a few times when someone was planning to take their life. Okay. Have I ever regretted reaching out? No. Never, not once. Have I been rejected before? Yes. Have my motives been called into question? A few times. But have I ever regretted doing it? Absolutely not. I have a brother who's in the military, or was in the military. He lives in Maryland. And he is, one thing I noticed about him, and I always wanted to be like him, is he was always aware of what was happening around him. He was always aware of what was going on in the space around him. And I would be talking to him, and all of a sudden he would just shoot off and help a woman who just dropped her groceries. Or open the door for someone. He had this built-in mechanism to be aware. And so when I put that with open to inspiration, can I just add that? Be aware. Have you ever had someone come to you and you're clearly in a desperate place And they say, well, if I can do anything for you, let me know. And you think, what the heck? You can't see the situation I'm in? I posted this really cool story once. I was coming out, I was trying to fly to another city in the middle of a book tour. I had a layover in St. Louis and the flight was delayed 4 hours. Oh my gosh. You know what that's like when you've been traveling all day, the flight's delayed. People were like about to eat each other. They were furious. And I noticed this woman sitting on the ground in front of the desk because the place was just slammed, right? And she had a child, like a 4-year-old, just running around like crazy and annoying people. Everyone, first of all, we're already annoyed, but you could tell people being annoyed with her. And I just kind of noted her. I was in my own world and trying to get business done on my phone. And this is all going on. And I go in and I sit down, and I was in first class, and I sit down and I noticed her just kind of going by quickly by, carrying her baby, and just she's gone. And then this young man comes by and he sits down in the seat right across the aisle from me in first class next to me, a young African-American man. And I look over at him and smile, and we're sitting there, and all of a sudden they're getting ready and they close the door. You know, they tell you to put it on your seatbelt. He stands up and he runs to the back. I thought, oh, I guess he had to use the bathroom or something, but bad timing because they told us to sit down. And the flight attendant's like, sir, sir, sir. She goes running after him. Like, it's like, well, you shouldn't get up. And then they're like gone. And I thought, I wonder what's going on. And then the woman who was sitting on the ground with her child comes up with the flight attendant. And so the young man has gone to the back of the plane. Okay. And I bring up his race specifically because I think in a time of so much, there's so much confusion and hurt. I think it's a good thing to just look at the soul. But this young woman comes up and she sits down in the seat next to mine. And I look over, I notice she's crying. And it's like, oh my gosh, that young man just gave this woman his first class seat. What a sweet thing to do on a long flight. And so we take off and I turn over and I see that her child is having trouble. I go, Miss, would your daughter like to play with my iPad? I have some games my grandchildren put on here. And I gave that. She goes, thank you. And the little girl gets engrossed in the game and she turns over and her eyes are red. She goes, my husband died yesterday. He was killed in a car crash. And she keeps asking for daddy, and I don't know what to tell her. I'm flying home to my parents. And I really feel like God put her in that seat next to me because with as much as I deal with grief, I was able to talk to her for more than an hour and a half and give her hope and inspire her. But God did that through that beautiful young man. So as we walk out of the plane, I stop and I waited for him. I go, sir, may I talk to you? And he's like, did I do something? I go, yeah, you did actually. You did something really beautiful. I said, I would like to share your story on a blog. I introduced myself. We become friends. I talked to him last week. It's been several years and I'm proud of him. If you look him, you can look him up. He's a life coach like you, Joseph. His name is Ali Palmer. And he's a good guy. I said, why did you reach out to that woman? He said, something told me she needed help. Okay. He was aware. I was not aware of my surroundings. I was very internalized. He was aware of his surroundings and he was open to inspiration. Okay. So those are the three things that for you to fulfill this in a powerful way is going to take. It's going to take the commitment to reach out each day, one person. And you can feel good about that. It's okay. It's okay to pat yourself on the back for reaching out. But I want to tell you something. In the end, the person you save the most is going to be yourself through this experience. Your commitment, be specific. Second, planning, remember, or otherwise you will forget and you'll feel guilty. And this is a no guilt, no shame zone, but you'll miss out on an opportunity. And that includes me too. So Diane, you remind me and I'll remind you and we'll share it. So you know what? That's a great idea. Let's get buddies to help remember. That will be helpful. If you get someone else you can share that with, that would be helpful. And then the last, be open to inspiration, but to be aware. Don't sit there. Don't be one of these people who just says, yeah, God, tell me who to help. And they're all around you and they're crawling on the ground. It's like, that is pathetic. You sit around, you look, who can I bless today? And I promise you, if you ask your source to be that tool in his hands, you ask your source to be that person, it might come at 11 o'clock at night to send a text message. You know, I told you, and I told you before, but some of you are new here, and it's a story worth repeating. Years ago, we had just moved into a new neighborhood. I was young. We had one child. We were the new young couple in this fairly wealthy area. And I wake up at 1 a.m. with this prompting, call your next door neighbor and see how they are. They need you. It's 1 a.m. It's like, what? I'm not calling the neighbor. Next day, same thing. Or excuse me, not next day, the next, I mean, it just keeps going. I'm pretty sure it's 2 a.m. And then it's 3 a.m. I can't sleep. And finally it's like, okay, it's now 3 a.m. This is completely hideous. I'm going to do the craziest thing I've done in my life. And I pick up the phone and I call my freaking neighbor at 3 a.m. Woke them up. Yeah. I said, you okay? What? I'm sorry. I just felt this. I woke up in the night. Are you okay? Yeah, I'm sleepy. It's 3 a.m. It's like, so sorry. I know. I just checking on you. I thought, what the heck was that? It spread through the neighborhood. This guy moved in, crazy guy. A week and a half later, I see the guy's wife at church. I go, look, I'm really sorry to call you in the middle of the night. You must think I'm crazy. And what she said was profound. She looked at me, she said, I'm not sorry. I thought you were incredibly courageous. You had nothing to gain by calling us in the middle of the night. You reached out and she goes, you know what it did? My husband has been a deadbeat. He doesn't work. He's been living off of me. He doesn't go to church. He doesn't pray. He's been a bad father. And guess what? You woke him up. He now is afraid he's going to die, and you know it. And he's trying to be a better man. So thank you. Thank you for doing something that is absolutely absurd and courageous and loving, because you had nothing to gain. Well, I had sleep to gain, actually. But see, what I also discovered is that because I listened to that inner voice, it keeps talking to me. Because I listen. I believe if we ignore it long enough, it will fade off. We won't even hear the whisper anymore. And that is a gift. I look back on that and I think, you know what? That 24-year-old kid was brave as hell. He reached out and called someone at 3 a.m. that he didn't even know very well to make sure they were okay. Okay, so let me ask you, this is not a shaming moment, but this is an opportunity for you to commit to our community. And this is who we are. By the raise of hand, how many are willing to commit? Don't raise your hand if you're not really willing to commit to try this every day this week. To reach out to someone in kindness. Okay. Find a buddy to help you, because you will forget, and I will forget. Gwen just wrote, I'm in. Awesome. I can see some notes coming down, and man, some are raising hands online. Fantastic. I really don't have the ability to hold you accountable, and I don't necessarily want to. I just want you to experience the blessing of reaching out. And so what I would like to do is next week to actually talk about it. And next week, as we move into Thanksgiving, it is Thanksgiving the next week, right, Diane? Yeah. So next week we'll be talking about gratitude. But I would like to share that before we start. Diane, would you mind writing that down? If you remind me so in the call. So before we talk about gratitude next week, we'll actually talk about this. So thank you so much. I just want you to know how much I love you and how grateful I am for our friendship. Thank you so much for who you are. Seriously, if the entire world was like this, we would have such a positive, powerful world. I don't believe that a single one of you isn't broken, including myself. And that's why we're here, to fill each other's broken parts. You know, sometimes it's hard to get into something if it's not broken. I've broken a few things to get into them, including bottles, right? So it's okay. I'm okay admitting I'm broken, and I'm blessed to. So anyway, we're here to lift each other, and I appreciate all that you have done and offered into my life, and hope that I have been able to give back. Thank you so much. And I look forward to your report next week. I think we're going to have some amazing stories to share. And if you want to email me, if you have a cool story to share, what I'd like to do is make a list. And so I can call on you when you come on the call. And Jessica Musgrave, you wrote about about helping. Yes, you're doing good. I want you to reach past one person, because especially caregivers are times in our lives when it's like, it seems almost impossible, because you are giving so much to helping one person. And that itself is beyond merit. But for you to have that experience of reaching out even past that, because I've been in those situations enough where you're caring, and it doesn't necessarily give you a special uplift. You know, for the needs of the moment. Does that make sense? So that's for your sake. I just reach out, make it simple. If you're already taxed, I'm not asking you to do anything that's really taxing, even, but just follow that inspiration. So I look forward. So go ahead and email me. My email, if you don't have my personal email, it's very simple. It's just author, as in one who writes books, not Arthur. Author at richardpaulevans.com. And Karen Dovenbarger got a name off the angel tree. Thank you. One of the cool things, if I could just share this, is I'm having so much fun. We're having so much fun with the Christmas box house. But right now we are preparing Christmas for 2,700 youth. Wow, you thought your Christmas shopping was hard. 2,700 youth. I'm so proud of them and all they're doing. It's fantastic. But our community support's never been bigger or better. So we have some really good things coming ahead. I have some really cool things I want to involve you with as we go on. So anyway, thank you, everyone. God bless. Have a fantastic week, and I know you will.
Richard, can I add something real quick?
Please, yes.
So doing some quick math, we had at one point 48 people on the call. If each of us reached out each day to one person, that's 336 lives that we're going to touch just by being here tonight, and this 48 people on this call. Imagine if we had a couple hundred people on this call. So if anybody that you reach out to this week could benefit from an hour like this every week, be sure to invite them. Be sure to invite them. We get this hour each week with Rick, and it is so amazing. And I'm feeling a little bit selfish. You know, I love this, but I really want to share this. I want more people on this call. So if you guys will help us with that, that would be awesome.
Thank you.
No commitment to Kingdom Organizer or anything like that. Just be on the call.
Just come on. In
Yeah.
fact, we have some of the Tribe of Queen women on here tonight who are, there's Sandra, there's, yeah, so we just came on and we decided to combine calls because there's too much to do 2 calls and bring it together. So thank you so much. Anyway, God bless you all. Have a fantastic week and can't wait to talk to you next Sunday.
Thank you so much.
Take care, everyone.
Thanks, Rick. Thanks, Michael.
Thank you.
Thanks, Rick.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.